Hey, Booze. Hey, it is your girl, the Rising Phoenix Empath, coming at you from Maryland. And I wanted to jump on real quick and talk about today the 6 indicators that you know in your heart of heart and soul of souls that this relationship is over and that it can never work, even if you don't physically leave at this point. There comes a time in the relationship when we know it's over and just a matter of a time. And we may hold on for dear life, right? Because we love this person, right? And we really believe this person loves us. And so we hold on for dear life, right? But deep down, we know that this person is not well and that this could never work. Not really, not in reality, right? And so there are 6 things that happen, right? That we know, even if we have failed to take the action, right? And that first thing, let me just give you a quick disclaimer. For those of you who don't know, I have a special needs son, and you may hear him throughout this video. He's in all of my videos. At some point, you can hear him. But that's what that noise is if you hear a thing, if you hear something. And also, if this content resonates with you, I'm inviting you to subscribe to the RPE tribe, the Rising Phoenix Empath tribe. Subscribe and become a part of us, this community. If my content helps you in any way, if this video helps you, maybe you don't want to subscribe. That's a commitment, and maybe you don't want to do that. But like the video if it blesses you, and that's a way of just showing gratitude and thanks. And please feel free to engage in dialogue in the comments also. I'm so pleased and glad to have you here. And without further ado, I'll tell you what that first step is, right? The first step, right? Not the first step, but the first indication in knowing when you know in your heart of heart and soul of souls this relationship is doomed, right? Is when you look in the mirror and the person you see looking back at you no longer resembles the handsome man or beautiful woman you once were pre this toxic relationship. Okay? Now, maybe you've gained a significant amount of weight due to the depression that you feel, due to the abuse that you have experienced throughout the duration of this relationship. You've either gained a significant amount of weight or you have lost a significant amount of weight. Or either way, when you look in the mirror, you don't recognize yourself and you're not happy about it. And it doesn't look good. Maybe your hair has fallen out. Maybe you start losing hair due to the stress and the fight or flight that you're constantly in, right? Or maybe your skin, you had always had nice skin, never had a problem with acne prone or bad skin, and all of a sudden you look in the mirror and you just see all of this pigmentation, you see all of these blemishes and acne that you've never had to contend for in your life. And what that is that is your body responding to the trauma in an attempt to try to detox the trauma out of you. And it's literally trying to detox. This is a spiritual thing that manifests physically. It's literally trying to detox your body from trauma, because the fight or flight that you have constantly been in is telling your immune system that you're under attack. This can cause serious health issues, and you even begin not only to decline in looks, but in your health. And that in itself is a whole different video, right? But your immune system is telling your body you're under attack, and to get these toxins out of your body, when in fact they're not real toxins. They're psychological in nature, but they manifest physically anyway, right? And this is proof that illness manifests spiritually before it actually manifests physically. Okay? And your body is fighting to get them out of your body, and your skin is taking a hit. You have blemishes, you have pigmentation, your skin's uneven, it looks bad. And I'm going to tell you something, the really depreciating thing about this realization, because when you look in the mirror and you look at yourself and you see how tattered you look, it's just not a good feeling to know that this is me. This is how I look. So you already know that you don't look as good as you used to. You already know you look bad. The people that love you and that are around you have expressed that they know something is wrong because you don't look right. And even that toxic person you're in a relationship, when you argue and get angry with each other, they even say something about the fact that you ain't all that no more. I don't know what happened. You happened. You happened. They acknowledge the fact, they see the change, the physical change in you, and they acknowledge that, but they have no emotional intelligence to understand in any way that they have greatly contributed to the decline in your looks and your aesthetic. They don't get that, right? And so they even begin to tell themselves, she not all that anyway. He not all that anyway, because they're preparing themselves to discard you, and so they have to depreciate you in every way. But I'm off on a tantrum. But the indication to let you know that you know in your heart and souls that this relationship's doomed and that you have to get out is when you look at yourself in the mirror and you no longer even see the person you once were. And it you mourn that. You mourn that. That's the number one thing, guys. All right, even if you haven't physically made the decision to leave, you know it's not going to work. You know. Okay? Number two is you don't even feel like the person you once were. When you met this person, most of us were coming off of a fast of sorts. Not literally, but a fast of sorts from relationships, and we had been alone for an extended period of time, right? And we were happy and we were content in singleness, and we had sat with ourselves and we had loved on ourselves and doted on ourselves, and we had uh, learned, we had, sharpened ourselves emotionally and spiritually by studying, whether it be biblical principle or other spiritual things. We've just been sharpening ourselves and becoming the evolved best version of ourselves. And so when that person met us, we we were the best, very best version of us at that time. We were the very best versions of ourselves, and they loved that about us. They loved our energy, they loved our positivity, they loved how we made them feel that anything was possible, and they loved that we made them feel that they could accomplish anything and that we believed in them, right? Well, all of the energy, all of that good energy, all of that has been zapped out of us, gaslit out of us, manipulated out of us, crazy made out of us, and we no longer even feel the same. And deep down, we don't even, and I didn't even talk about it, but I knew I felt different, and I knew why. And I mourned the person that I was at the beginning of the relationship. I mourned her. And even still, because she's not back, and I don't think she'll ever come back, because this experience has changed me. And so I'll evolve from this and be a different version, a better version. But I can never go back to being that person, because this relationship was a lesson in how bad character corrupts good character. And that I found myself doing, being, and saying things that the person that this person met would never have done or said. And I'm not in any way shifting the blame. I take accountability for those things that I've done that I'm not proud of. But the triangulation and the spying and the just, it's embarrassing when you think about it. But all of these things that you've done, and even going back and forth with third parties and with people that this person was dealing with and triangulating you with, and how even you became treacherous. You began to adapt to the environment in an effort to survive. And after, as a result of all of these things, this person, this situation, this experience pushed all of your boundaries, and you breached all of your own boundaries. You've done things that you said you would never do. And you participated in childish things you said you would never participate in. And you betray yourself for this person, and your integrity even took a hit because you were abusive to this person. You were abusive to anybody who was a threat to your relationship. And this person showed you, not only did you go through your dark night of the soul, but this person showed you your dark side, and it scared you. And you're still having to forgive yourself for some of those things. Forgive yourself for even allowing yourself to be picked or chosen by this predator. For not being mentally strong enough, and not being wise enough, and not using your intuition and your spiritual gifts, because they were going off telling you no, 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 and you didn't listen. And so all of those things have you feeling like you're not the person you thought you were. And you don't feel like her or him anymore. Right? And when you feel that way, you know that this person contributed to this experience, and that this person pulled out all of the worst things in you when you pulled out all of the best in them. And they showed you the worst parts of who you are. And they even delight in it, that they were able to do that. But when you realize that you don't feel the same, that this experience has changed you forever, and at this point in this juncture, not in a good way, because you just want to feel normal again. You just want to feel normal again. And I want you to know that you can get that person back. She'll never, or he'll never be the same, because this experience has imprinted on your very soul. But you can evolve, and you can rise like the phoenix and the empath that you are, and you can become an even better version of yourself with healing, with therapy, with meditation, with prayer, with doing shadow work. You can become an even better version of yourself. But when you feel different and you've lost yourself, and you just want to feel normal again, you know that in order to even get on the right track to starting that process, you have to detach from this person. And you know that that is a prerequisite for you to even begin to heal. You have to. And you know that it's over. And again, you may not have even left physically yet, but you know that in order to feel like yourself again, and it's gonna be a long, hard road filled with intentional work. You're gonna have to detach from this person, go no contact, and never speak to them again. And you may not be ready for that at this moment, but you know and you recognize that you are not the same. Okay, that's number two. Number three, you are in a constant state of fight or flight. And literally, you cannot live like this for a long period of time. And when I say you can't live like this for a long period of time, I mean literally you'll die. If your body is in a constant state of fight or flight for an extended period of time, your body and your organs will begin to shut down because your body is operating off of let's say when the lights go out, the generator comes on, and the generator is working extra hard to keep all of those lights on because the generator really wasn't built to to give electricity to the entire house. It was only built to help out in a crisis when the lights go out. When there's a storm and the lights go out, the generator was only built to do what it does for a short amount of time so that you can have power, right? So the same thing with fight or flight. With fight or flight, it's something designed to help you in a moment of crisis, to help you get over that hump and to help you to survive. But when your body is in a constant state of fight or flight, you are overutilizing your organs. You're overutilizing the resources within your own body that helps you to live and thrive. And those things will begin to take a hit and you will literally die. That's the physical aspect. The mental, emotional, and spiritual aspect of that is that you are totally depleted and you are beginning to feel bad and feel sick. And it's because your body is slowly but surely shutting down. And it's a long process. But if you stay in fight or flight for an extended period of time, you will die. Physically, you'll die. Emotionally and mentally and spiritually, what that looks like is just somebody who is uninspired, somebody who is completely depleted of energy, somebody who doesn't even have the emotional capacity to be around people. The only thing that you can really do is the things that you must, like go to work, because you have to make a living. And even when you show up to work, you are giving bare minimum performance, not because you're lazy, but because you your energy, your focus, everything that helps you, this is your solar plexus, to do a good job and to give you the inspiration and to do well and to thrive has broken down, and your body and your mind is so focused on survival that all those other aspects of your life take a hit. You are a mother, and you will continue to mother and be a good mother and be a good parent and be a good father. You will continue to do those things, but your children will even notice an energetic shift. And this doesn't just affect you, it affects them because kids internalize things and they think things are their fault. So, when you are in a constant state of fight or flight and you become energetically sapped of your energy and you begin to not only mentally and emotionally check out on life, but you begin to physically become ill. That's number three. And you don't know that you're physically becoming ill. All you know is that you're tired. All you know is that you literally don't have the energy to get up and go to work. You don't have the energy or even the inspiration to get up and be a good parent. You do it and you go through the motions and you get it done. But it took everything within you to do it. And you're literally, it's like a car that runs out of gas, but you're still driving it, literally running on fumes. And it's only a matter of time before you become physically ill. Number four, you no longer have emotional stability. What this means, I've always been the person that I fuss when I'm in the car. I know. I do. I fuss. I have not like extensive road rage, but I be fussing at the cars. I do. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but I do. That's something that I do. But when I say you no longer have the emotional stability, you feel that you don't have control over your temper, over your emotion. These are things that you had a handle on at first. Okay? You had a handle on these things at first, and you could process, situations and things being said to you, and you could appropriately respond, right? But when you feel like you don't have the emotional stability because you with this person you don't. You've dealt with so much abuse get by way of gaslighting, manipulation, crazy making, creating false narratives, and you even start to wonder, well, am I the crazy one? Am I the narcissist? Am I the toxic person? Because you begin to mirror them, and that is another coping mechanism that you in hopes that in so that you'll survive. Excuse me. So that you'll survive. um but you become scared to even leave out of your house because if somebody pops slick, if somebody says something to you, to your family, to your kids, you're going to react badly, and that could be the thing that you can go off on somebody, and you literally feel that energy. And let me just add that it's just not fun to feel this out of control. Like, you, it's almost like you match and mirror the energy that you've been given, and you mimic this person and behavior, and you're projecting that onto every other situation. If anybody says anything to you at a gas station or out in public, or you know you're not dealing with it the way you should, you're just blowing up at people, and that can cause you your life, because we live in a world where people are walking around here crazy, insane. Okay. And so when you are feeling like you don't have any control over how you respond to people, foolishness, you don't go around starting trouble, but people are going to people. And when people, you have no tolerance for it, and you have no control over your emotional response to these people. And it could end very badly. So when you are feeling froggy all the time, everybody can get it. And you go immediately to physical aggression, or feeling like you can be physically aggressive with people who may say inappropriate things to you, right? And not saying that those things are right, but we've always been level headed. We've always been people who understood the importance of walking away from things that could escalate into deadly situations. But you find yourself welcoming the drama, and you're angry, and anything will set you off. It's time for you to walk away from this person when you feel, you're at a point where you cannot control yourself in your anger, and you have no emotional stability. It's time for you to go. Number 5, you get to a point in the relationship where, and it's the end of the relationship mainly. It's during the discard phase, but you enter a, you know, a season in the relationship where you cannot talk to this individual without being abused. Whether it be verbal abuse, whether it be gaslighting, whether it be manipulation, whether it be triangulation, whether it be crazy making, right? In reverse psychology, all of these things are forms of emotional abuse and psychological warfare and abuse. And when you get to a point, because you come to a point in the relationship where you are so emotionally and mentally distraught that to because during the relationship they did all of these things during the duration of the relationship, but they did them in increments. Sprinkle, sprinkle here, sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. That's my boo. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle here, sprinkle, sprinkle there. Right? They're doing these using these abusive tactics in increments, but toward the end of the relationship it becomes a norm. And you cannot talk to this person. You can't have one conversation with this person without some form of abuse, mainly gaslighting, manipulation, and reverse psychology happening. And you're at a point where you're so distraught and you're so tired and you recognize what they're doing now. You didn't even know there was a name for it, and you've educated yourself somewhat and you know what's happening. You have no tolerance, and you realize at the end of a conversation that in order to keep your sanity, you can no longer even talk to this person. You can no longer talk to them because they are in such a mode of survival that they they're ready to discard you because they got a new supply waiting to run into the sunset with. And so they're trying to also push you to your limit on purpose. And so you become so distraught and so upset that eventually you realize to talk to this person, to even engage in dialogue with this person is unhealthy for your emotional, spiritual, and mental health. And you must disconnect. Steve, but you have to disconnect for your own emotional and mental health. And emotional health, that this person is just not good for you. You realize how toxic they are, and you know that allowing yourself to even entertain dialogue with them will end in devastation. Mere dialogue with them ends in devastation. Every conversation toward the end that you have with these people ends in your devastation and pain. And you know that you have to stop, that it has to stop. Number 6. So that was number 5. You can't engage the narc without being abused. It's in the arsenal, and when they deal with you, that is how they deal with you. Number 6, you see this person. You see this person, and you realize that even if they straightened up and fly right, they've shown you what they were capable of, and that you, in good conscience, could never be with them and could never trust them because they showed you how treacherous they were. They showed you how evil they were, and they showed you how disloyal and dishonorable they were. And to be with them would even be a breach of your own standard. It would even be betraying your own self to know that this wasn't just a one time incident. This is who they are, and that they're going to do it again eventually. You've seen them, and you cannot unsee how disloyal they are. You can't unsee it. How they stop loving at will, how they fall in love at will, and the lack of emotional intelligence that grown people have, and how they're stunted, and how they would never really be able to operate in a functional relationship without extensive intentional therapy, and how unwilling they are to really get that. You know that you can never be with them, and that it will never be. and that you have to disconnect. And so, again, those six indicators, when you know, as the person experiencing the trauma, the bulk of the trauma, I might say, that you know you could never be with this person. Number one, when you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person you see looking back. Okay? Number two, you don't feel like the person you once were. You just don't feel like her. And you realize how this situation has changed you in ways that aren't necessarily good. Number three, you are in a constant state of fight or flight. And what this does to your nervous system, how you're constantly feeling on edge and in terror and walking on eggshells, and how this is affecting you physically. That's number three. Number four, when you're feeling you're losing touch of your emotional stability, you've been abused so much by this specific individual that you let loose, and everybody who is in contact with you, if they step out of line, they're bound to get it. They're bound to get it, and you have no emotional control over how you respond to foolishness, how you respond to disrespect. When you feel like you can just lose it, you know that you can't live like that. You don't want to be like that, and it's time to go. Number five, when you can't engage this person without them abusing you in some way, and you're very aware of the abuse, and it does something to you every time you speak with them, and it's just not good for your mental health at this point. And number six, when you see who they are and you can never unsee it, and you realize it can never go back to what it was, because it never was what they pretended for it to be, and they were never the people they pretended to be. And you know that the person they are, the disloyal, dishonorable, hateful, mean, cruel, unethical, immoral, deviant that this person is, would never be able to meet you where you are, because they were only able to meet you in the first place because they copied and mimicked your personality. But when you see who they are, you see them, you can never unsee them, and you'll never look at them the same. All right, folks, those are your six indicators, and there more, I'm sure. But these are the six I wanted to discuss with you today on this Sunday. Happy Sunday, by the way. So these are the six things, the six indicators that you know it's over. You know it's over, and so you might not physically leave at this point, but you know it's coming, and you're preparing yourself, but you know that this isn't the person that God created for you, and you for them, and you know that it can never work, because this person is so sick, so disordered, and so immoral that they don't have what is in them. They don't even have it in them to even meet you where you are. So, people, this is your six indicators that it's time to leave, that you can never be with this person. I hope this has helped you. I pray that you resonated. And I know that you will rise like the phoenix you are, and the empaths you are, and that it will be well, and that we will be well. To recognize these things may be painful, but I want you to know it is the beginning of your healing, and you will heal. You will get over the hump. You will evolve, and you will come out of this thing the very best version of yourself, and even better. And chosen ones, this happened to you. No, I take that back. This didn't happen to you, it happened for you, because we're evolving and we're being catapulted to our destinies and our purposes. And We had to rid ourselves of all the toxic people that was attached to us so that we can operate optimally. I love you guys. I want you to be encouraged and I want you to know you're not alone. You're not in this thing alone, and we are better because we want to heal and we're being intentional about the steps we need to take to heal. And we'll get through this. And one day we'll look back on this when we're with our new partners, right? With the people that God really intended us to be with. And we'll be so thankful for the journey. And we'll be so thankful and appreciative that we have the men and women that God appointed to us. I want you to know that this is a one time cycle for us, but a lifetime of cycles for them. So they will continue to go through this heartbreaking, devastating thing, but we'll heal, move on, and love. And it will be a love that God intended for us to have. All right, chosen ones. Until then, have a great Sunday. Have a happy Sunday. I love you. And don't forget to subscribe to the tribe, RPE tribe. I love you guys. Until next time.